There are lots of different things that we can strategize on in our PPC campaigns, whether it's keywords, ad copy, bid modifiers, all that stuff. But one thing I don't think people pay enough attention to is competition. What are your competitors doing? How are they bidding on certain terms in your account? Are they bidding on your brand or not? And are they getting more or less aggressive? What do we need to do? For my money, Microsoft Ads has the best auction insights tool, and today I'm going to walk you through what the tool does and how you can use it to optimize your campaigns. Once you log into your Microsoft Ads account, just head over to the Competitions tab and you will be placed on something that looks a lot like this. It has a pretty basic layout, but there's quite a lot that you can do with it. So the first thing to note is there's this big chart right here in the middle that will allow you to see trending data. We'll talk about some of the views that you can have here in a second, followed by the table with a lot of different line items for each of the different competitors that you're seeing and each of the different metrics available. The competition tab will default you to all of the stats that you can see within this view. So even though they have the columns piece here, all you're really going to be able to do is remove columns that are already available because they're all already selected and they're already added. Just keep that in mind. But if you do want a view where you don't have overlap rate included in it, for example, that's something that you can do if you want to take that off. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit cancel. So the first thing that we're going to look at is just how you can use this table to see some visual representations. The first thing to note is that your campaigns will always be listed in this table. There will not be a view where you are not listed, but you can start to see that there are trending stats for each of the different competitors that are listed. So you can see mtb.com, mybanktracker.com, Quicken Loans, and wf.com are all here. You'll also notice that those are the top 4 that are listed in this data table down below. Now, if I were to filter or reorder the columns based on average position, you'll notice that the first 4 that showed up are now Consumer Research, NerdWallet, BankTruth, and Kinsack, and those are the ones that are now listed in the table above. So every time you adjust this table down below and change which competitors are showing in the first 4 rows, those are going to be the ones that are reflected in the chart above compared to your stats. I'm just going to reverse this real quick. So one thing to note is that there are a number of different data points on this chart, and you'll notice that each of them is by month. So it has May, April, March, so on and so forth in the table. There are further segmentations based on time under the segment tab, but one thing you need to keep in mind, and I'm going to do an example here. If I were to choose week, Microsoft Ads is going to tell me I can't do that because there can only be up to 17 segmentations of data. So that means that for weeks, you can only have 17 weeks. If you want to have months, you can only have 17 months, so on and so forth. Keep that in mind. If you want to see daily level data, you can do that, but again, you only need to have 17 days that are available in the table to see that level of breakdown. So following that, I do want to show what it looks like when you choose a segmentation, because obviously this table up here is already segmented by month, but what if you actually choose segment and choose month? Now the chart up above has stayed the same, but the data table down below has changed. Now you can see that just like any other segment on other portions of the interface, you have the roll-up column, but then you'll also see the data broken out by month. So now you can see how you performed over the past 5 months in this example, how mtb.com did, and how all of your different competitors performed over the past 5 months over the same date range. So you can tell, at least for quickenloans.com, they were active in the first 3 months, then they weren't there in April, and then they came back in May. So there are some pretty interesting insights you can gain from how your competitors are bidding on terms that you are also bidding on over the course of the days, weeks, months, quarters, and trying to find a trend of what their strategy is and how you can take advantage of the different trends that they have in their bidding strategies. So popping back up to the top, one of the other segments that you would have seen there was device type. And this makes the interface look quite a bit different. In the tables, you'll now see that we have 3 of them. The main one is going to default to computer or desktop, but then there's also a smartphone and tablet table available as well, and this will show you all the same data. So again, we're showing by impression share that's available, but you can choose other metrics, whether it's overlap rate, average position, position above rate, top of page rate, or outranking share. All of the different stats that are available in the data table below are also available for these charts up at the top. So let's just go ahead and choose average position just for example. And now we can see the trend in average position that that each of our competitors had by each of these device categories, which is really interesting. If you want to see one of the other ones a little bit larger, maybe smartphone, for example, you can actually choose from this drop down, click smartphone, and now this main chart, the bigger one that's a little bit easier to see, is smartphone, and computer has moved over here to the top right. You're not going to lose the data, you're still going to be able to see it, but might help make it a little bit easier to analyze smartphone data if it's in a little bit bigger chart visually. Now this is showing you trending data, and we've been talking about how data trends one way or another. You can also choose summary, which will show you the different performance for the same competitors just over the entire date range that you're looking at. So I currently have this year to date basically chosen, and you can see the average position for myself and then all of the competitors over the course of those 5 months. So instead of showing a chart with lots of different line items that is kind of trending, this shows you an overall snapshot of how your average position has performed compared to your competitors over this date range. You'll notice that when I chose that, my segmentation for device went away, but if you come up here and click on segment, device type is still there. And you can now still see it by computer, smartphone, and tablet. The last thing I want to show you is how you can get this competitor data for different portions of your account. One thing at a very high level is if you are running search and shopping campaigns, this dropdown right here will take you directly to all of your shopping campaigns and find competitor performance for those. This account doesn't have any, so I'm not going to show you those today, but if you're running shopping campaigns, those are really easy to segment away from your search campaigns so you can analyze those differently, since there are quite a bit of nuance between those two campaign types. Now, the last area of functionality I want to talk about in this sheet is filters. And for that, I'm just going to reset this so it's a little bit easier to see how things are going. So we'll go back to impression share and no segmentation. So this filters piece can be really helpful if you're trying to narrow in on some specific pieces of information. So let's open this up, click create filter, and you'll see that there is a preset filter of display URL domain, which pops up. What this basically means is you can come over here and click this other dropdown, and you can start to choose which competitors you want to see. So maybe they're like in this account, there are 20, 30 competitors, but maybe you're really only focused and interested in a handful of these. I just clicked a handful of them. I'm going to click apply. And now the report is only showing me data for, again, myself, plus all of those other competitors in the table and in the chart. Now we're focused only on those really specific ones that you want to see. So that can help get rid of some of the noise in the reports if you know which competitors you want to go after, but maybe you don't know which competitors you want to focus on. Maybe you want to start to filter by other pieces. So the next thing is that you can filter based on all of the metrics that are available in this report. So let's say we want to filter by impression share, and say that we want to find any competitor that has impression share that is greater than 15%. I just need to type in 15 because there's a percentage mark over here and click apply. And now it's focusing me on only 2 competitors because only 2 of them have impression share higher than 15% over the past 5 months. So this is one way that if you're trying to focus on the biggest impact, maybe focus on only a handful of competitors based on the impression share that they have available, or only the ones that have certain average position or overlap rate with you, something like that. These filters can really help narrow down what competitors you're seeing in this report. But you'll notice down here at the bottom that there are also 3 additional filters that are within this account: campaign, ad group, and keyword. The first thing is that obviously you can easily just click campaign. It will open up a drop-down for all of your campaigns, and similar to what we saw with the competitors, you can click one of them, hit apply, and it'll show you the performance for yourself and the competitors that showed up in that campaign that you have filtered for. So this is just a brand campaign, so this is a really easy way to see who is bidding on your brand terms and who you might need to develop a competitor strategy for. Find ways that you can either get them back, make sure that you set yourself apart, but make sure that you're protecting your own brand name on the results pages. If we go back into the filter piece, I do want to call something out that is a little bit of a hiccup on this type of report. I'm segmented by campaign, but if I come in here and click ad group, there's no ad groups listed. This is one of the little quirks that Microsoft Ads has. So I'm going to click cancel. Let's just go into the brand campaign itself. And then I can actually remove this filter. And we're going to see all the same stats that we would have seen for the prior screen because those were filtered for this specific brand campaign. But if I want to set up a filter, now I can come in, create my filter, go down to ad group, and now I can choose my ad group based on the one that I want to focus on. So the same will be set for keywords. At this campaign level, since I'm only in the one brand campaign, I won't be able to choose the dropdown for keyword until I go into a specific ad group, and then I can start to choose from the keywords. So just keep that in mind. But while I'm in here, this is something really helpful. I can come in, choose the ad group that I want to see, click apply, and now the report is going to reset and show me only the competitors that were showing up for this ad group and the keywords that are in this ad group. Similar to the other pieces before, now I can come in, segment by device, and start to see which competitors are bidding on certain devices on these keywords in this ad group specifically. And maybe this is something where I start to notice a trend in certain ad groups, certain keyword themes, and again, can adjust my strategy more specifically to how my competitors are bidding and what impact their competition is having on my account. Thanks for watching our video. If you thought it was useful, give us a thumbs up below.
We release a new video at least once a week, so if you want to get notified of when a new one comes out, be sure to subscribe to the Paid Media Pros channel.